It was a contractor. I swear, I didn't know that the Lord comes through people, but I did not know this at the time, but the Lord comes through people. He comes through me, but I didn't know any of this stuff. So this fella picked me up. I was in a white van. It had a box cutter in the center column. I had no fear at all. And he never looked at me. This man, he's driving me home, and he never really looked at me, but he interrogated me like I was on an interview. Why I don't drive, why this. I felt like I was on an interview, and I thought, whoa, what is this, you know? Come in the house, and he was behind me, and I said, oh, you gotta fix this. Something about the paint needs to be fixed. And I just heard like a little grunt, and in the house it was like, it just happened. It was like supernatural. I don't know how to explain it, Ray. It was like, it wasn't the painter from the house. It was like somebody different, you know? The hair was it just was a little different. And he never looked at me. He sat there on the couch. There's other things that occurred, but he sat on the couch and he never looked at me. He stared at the tree out the backyard, and he stared in front of him with his hands folded in his laps, stoic, you know? And he's talking to me. He told me he had 14 brothers and sisters. He told me, oh, that's a little personal. Did you know that they had steel mills back, steel factories and stuff? They made steel and iron works back then? I didn't know that. But this is what this person is saying to me. I didn't know why he's saying that. And I thought maybe I would date the man, but I couldn't do that because he was married, okay? And I'm sitting on he said something to me that nobody in the world would have known except me. He told me why I got divorced. I was telling we were like having a conversation, but you don't remember everything that he says. You only remember certain things, which of course I didn't know. You know, I said why I got divorced, and instantly he said, you were a drunkard. And I thought, nobody knew that I was a drinker except me and Mr. X, of course, you know? But that really wasn't the full reason why I got divorced, but I don't want to get into that either. But he told me that, and I went, whoa, this guy's got to have ESP. He got up, and I remember he walked around the corner where like the bathroom is there, and he came around the corner and he stood right over there and said, there's no room in this house for there's no room for anyone in this house, not even your son. And I went, well, this guy's really out the door, you know, and there's no hope, even if you are gonna get a divorce, whatever, you know? And then I sat in that chair, which I never have sat in my whole entire life. I sat in that chair, and that's now where I that's where I connect with him, is when I sit there and there's a little altar. He asked me, what is that? He pointed at the table and said, what's the table for? And I said, nothing, you know? And I was sitting there putting on my shoes or something. I remember I had reached down and I was looking up, and I looked up and I could see his shorts. He had shorts. His belt was made of rope. It was a rope belt. It was a kind of like a print shirt, but I couldn't tell you the print, but you couldn't see his face. It was like there was a veil over his face. You couldn't see him. And I remember standing up and I said, I don't go to church. Why I said that, I don't know why. And he said, you don't have to go to church every week, but it's a nice way to start off your week. So, hence I sit in that chair, and that's my quiet chair to speak with the Lord, and I sit there for service on Sunday, and I look where he stood, and I can see him where he stood. I like to close my eyes. Is that okay, Ray? Because when you close your eyes, you're with the Spirit. Did you know that? Yes, and he taught me that. But you see, I didn't know any of this stuff, all right? After he said those things, let's see, there were some other things that he said. Oh, he ate an Almond Joy. I remember he ate an Almond Joy, and he said he liked them, and the coconut came from his country. And I can't remember if he ate one or two. I wasn't sure. But I remember I stood there. I don't know what happened before, but I had my hands on his face, and I said, "What do you eat all day?" Why would I say that? And he said, "Bread, and I eat one meal a day." And I said, "Okay, well, I thought I'll make him dinner, you know." I didn't know that the Lord was bread, but that's another story in itself, because I didn't know that until I started to go to church.